Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we have another installment of my Women of Elegance series, where we discuss the lives of iconic female figures that, yes, have a big impact on fashion history, but more than that, that also have a positive example to set in terms of their behavior and overall attitude towards life. And today we'll be talking about the one, the only Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Jackie is one of those rare forces of nature that have been in the cultural imaginary for decades, often thought of not only as synonymous but as the very definition of elegance. So we'll go over a few of her most defining characteristics and moments, trying to learn a thing or two on how we can be all a little bit more like Jacqueline Kennedy. Lesson number 1 is creating interest through discretion. This lesson feels more relevant than ever in our digital age. The Kennedys rose to prominence during a media revolution. During the transition between the 50s and the 60s, television became a household staple, transforming the very way people consume news and entertainment. No longer did the audience need to wait for newspapers or magazines to come out. Their favorite celebrities, politicians, cultural icons were right there in their living rooms. That once one-dimensional experience of radio gained a whole new layer of intimacy through live broadcasts, fueling the rise of the celebrity phenomenon. So when Jackie entered the national spotlight as the young, stylish wife of a very handsome senator, the media went crazy and could not get enough of her. Yet, unlike many public figures today who will just lay their personal lives bare for everyone to see, Jackie understood the power of mystique. She carefully curated her image, revealing just enough to intrigue the public while keeping her private world fiercely protected. In an era where oversharing has become the norm, her ability to control the narrative was nothing short of masterful. For instance, Jackie rarely gave interviews, but when she did, she made sure to talk to the right journalists, meaning those who would further the message she was trying to relay. And she would also make sure to get final approval for what would be published. The whole concept of the Kennedy presidency being the Camelot of modern politics is due to an interview she gave a week after her husband's passing. Some would call that shrewd, kind of calculating, but in my view, it was a strategic move to make sure that JFK's legacy remained a positive one. Jackie knew that fame was a tool and not a goal. She leveraged it when necessary, but never let it consume her, proving that true influence often lies in what remains unsaid. Lesson number 2, being more than just a pretty face. Jackie Kennedy was born into privilege, and her upbringing shaped a lot of her mannerisms, her speech, her etiquette, impeccable sense of style, her ability to entertain. However, she was far more than just a glamorous socialite. She possessed a keen intellect that set her apart. She was an avid reader, a lover of history and art, fluent in multiple languages, and even worked as a journalist and book editor. By seamlessly blending charm and intellect, Jackie became an invaluable asset, not just in adding glamour to the Kennedy White House, but also in shaping its cultural and diplomatic presence. One striking example of this was her Spanish language speech during John F. Kennedy's presidential campaign, which really helped him connect with Latino voters in a more personal and engaging way. Another example was her key role in US-France relations, where her grace and cultural fluency really impressed Charles de Gaulle during a state visit, strengthening diplomatic ties for years to come. Jackie's love of history also found expression in her ambitious White House restoration project. She not only revived the interiors with total historical accuracy, but also shared that transformation with the American public public through a nationally televised tour, making history and heritage accessible to millions of people. These moments, subtle yet impactful, illustrate how Jackie redefined the role of First Lady, proving that intelligence, poise, and influence could go hand in hand. Lesson number 3 is grace through adversity. Jackie's life was filled with beauty and privilege, yet she was no stranger to tragedy, and for someone constantly in the public eye, personal hardships weren't just painful, they were magnified under the relentless glare of fame. Through it all, whether enduring whispers of her husband's infidelities or standing with unshakable composure during his funeral, Jackie embodied the power of grace under pressure, a quality increasingly rare in today's world of oversharing and self-indulgence. But her poise was never an act. She felt deeply, she suffered deeply. After JFK's assassination, for example, she said, "I don't like to hear people say that I am poised and maintaining a good appearance. I am not a movie actress." When her newborn son Patrick passed away at only 2 days old, she fell into a deep depression. And after the assassinations of both her husband and later on her brother-in-law, Robert Kennedy, she was consumed with fear that her children might be hurt next. Yet, instead of numbing her grief with distractions, she allowed herself space to heal. She chose to step away from the public eye to rebuild and kind of reclaim a sense of control over her own life. That journey led her to Aristotle Onassis, a man who, at least on the surface, was the very antithesis of Jack Kennedy, and marrying him was a very controversial choice, but it marked a turning point in her life. For the first time in years, Jackie seemed to enjoy herself again, finding in Onassis a sense of security and escape from what seemed a suffocating weight of her past. The marriage, however, was far from perfect. Infidelity once again found its way into one of her relationships, but by then Jackie had kind of grown a thicker skin. She had evolved beyond being defined by the man in her life. So when Onassis passed away in 1975, Jackie forged a new identity, not as a politician's widow, not as a billionaire's wife, but as a woman in her own right. She pursued her lifelong love of literature, working as an editor for Viking Press and Doubleday, helping to kind of shape and publish books that reflected her passion for history, art, and culture. Beyond publishing, she also used her influence to champion causes that were near and dear to her heart, such as fighting for historic preservation, promoting children's literacy, and at the end of her life, after her cancer diagnosis, promoting cancer research. Jackie's life was a testament to resilience. She endured devastating loss, navigated public scrutiny, and ultimately rewrote her own narrative, not as a tragic figure, but as a woman who faced hardship with dignity and emerged with a legacy of her own. Jackie Kennedy remains an icon, not just because of the way she looked, but most of all because of how she lived. She embodied elegance in every sense of the word, through her intellect, through her poise, and through her unwavering sense of purpose. And that, my friends, is why she will be forever remembered as one of history's greatest women of elegance. This is it, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode of Women of Elegance, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't so already, and let me know down in the comments if there are any iconic women you would like to see featured in this series. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see each other again next time. Bye bye.